In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, we want to talk about family in Islam. And of course, this is a very important topic in Islamic tradition, and it's very difficult to do justice to this in a session. But what I'm trying to do is to give a little bit background about the family life in Islam, and then to see some of the aspects of the marriage and divorce in Islam. We should know that in Islam, a very important concept is the concept of unity. And it's not only unity of God. Unity is the governing principle in the whole world. And whenever there is a person or a group of people who work for unity and bringing unity, this is considered to be a divine act, an act which must be praised. And on the other hand, when there is a group of people or a person or a party or whoever who causes division, this is considered to be as a satanic act. For example, the Quran says that one of the things that Pharaoh was doing was that he was dividing the people. So this unity takes different forms. We need unity and cohesion in society, in every place, and also above all, and maybe the principle to every other kind of unity that we can have in the community and society, is the unity that must start between a man and woman to found family, which is the best and maybe something which has no substitute, the base ground and basis for upbringing successful and happy children. According to a very famous hadith from the Prophet Muhammad, marriage is the best thing that human beings can ever do. Or you can say family is the best construction that human beings can ever build. And this is because everything else which we do in the society can only work if we have a strong family ties, if we have children who are brought up under love and care of a mother and a father who look after them not only physically but also spiritually and psychologically. So marriage is considered to be sacred, and there are many hadiths in the major Islamic sources which recommend people to get married. And the Prophet Muhammad says also marriage is one of my sunnah, means something which is part of the way that I teach you to act and to behave and conduct. On the other hand, divorce, although it is permitted in Islam, but it is considered to be the worst thing which is permitted. So the worst permissible thing is divorce, because divorce is the breakdown of the family life. So these two are quite compatible with each other. Emphasis on marriage and discouraging people to get divorced. There are many verses of the Quran which refer to family life, relation between children and parents, and also extended family. For example, the Quran in the verse 21 of chapter 30 says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Among his signs is that he has created mates for you from among yourselves, so that you find peace and tranquility with them. And he has established love and mercy between you. Surely there are signs in this for those who reflect. So a man and a woman are complete human beings. They are equally human beings. But what is the beauty and mystery in the creation of God is that although we are complete in our creation, but we are not perfect. we need to be supplemented by another person. A man is in need of a woman, and a woman is in need of a man, so that they can get united, and then they can have peace and tranquility. And this is very important. And the Quran said this is one of the signs of God for the people who reflect. How God has created us in pairs. Not only human beings, there are many, many things which are created in the pairs. And when two mates are united, then they can have peace, and then they can produce children. So you see, again, unity is working here. And the Quran also very much focuses on the relation between parents and children. Because whenever you have family, you may have also children. Of course, it's not necessary to have children. Maybe some people don't have children. But it's something which is to prepare for having children. So it's very much encouraged to have also children. And then the relation between children and parents is also a very special relation. The parents are recommended first to be ready to undertake sacrifice for having children. For some people, it's maybe very difficult, or maybe, if people want to have liberty, it's difficult to commit themselves to have children and then always look after them. But this is something that the creation wants from us, to be able to give up some of our freedom, some of our liberty that we have, so that we can have children and we can bring up good children for the future of humanity. So parents have to be ready for undertaking this great responsibility. And it's only when people are really committed to have children that they must have children. So this is something which is very important. So only in the context of a legitimate family, a sustainable family, we should have children. And then, on the other hand, children are very much encouraged to be very respectful, very kind to their parents. In several verses of the Quran, kindness to parents is right mentioned after worshipping God. For example, God says in the Quran that قَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. God has made a decree that you should only worship Him, nothing other than Him, and you must be kind to your parents. So it's very important that it comes right after worshipping God. And to be irrespectful to our parents, to be angry against our parents, is very severely treated, very severely condemned. Even we are told that we should not look at our parents with anger. Even if we don't say any word, we don't do anything, we should not look at them in the way that they understand that we are angry with them. For example, the Prophet Muhammad said, it is an act of worship to look at either parent with affection and kindness. So worship is not just only something that you can do it in the mosque. Even you can do your worship by looking with kindness to your parents. Of course, this doesn't replace the rituals, but this is extra worship that you can do. And indeed, whatever you do, whatever good cause you do can be an act of worship. Or for example, he says, God is pleased when one has pleased his parents. Or a very famous hadith which is narrated in many sources is that paradise lies under the feet of mothers. And among parents, mother has been given very special position. And once the Prophet was asked by one of his companions that which one should I give priority, my father or mother, to show love? And the Prophet said, your mother. And then again he repeated, the Prophet said, your mother, and then mother. So mother has very important position. Of course, this doesn't mean that we should reduce the respect and kindness for father, but because of the great sacrifice that mothers do for their children, and also the emotional relation and link which is there. So for mothers, it's very important to be assured that we love them and we respect them. So this family life, which is based on having a mother and father, and in most of the cases also children, is something which is very important, and this can be the first step towards having a happy and prosperous society. When people are really satisfied inside the family, when they come out, they go to school, they go to work, or whatever thing they do in the society, then you would face people who have all the energy and all the strengths to undertake great job for the society. But if people have no support of the family, if people do not get this energy and they are not recharged in the family and they go out, then there would be lots of problems. And our experience also shows that whenever we have great people, normally it's when they are supported by a great family. And normally, as one of the Muslim writers says, there has been always a great woman next to a great man. Even if you look at the history of the prophets, there have always been a great woman next to them. Maybe their mother, maybe their wife, maybe children, but there has always been a family link there. What should we do for protection and maintenance of family according to Islam? I can just briefly mention a few points. First of all, Islam encourages us to facilitate getting married. Sometimes in some societies, even in some Islamic societies, unfortunately, we see that getting married has become very difficult. Lots of protocols and etiquettes and lots of formalities are involved and lots of costs are involved, so that people sometimes are reluctant to get married because they cannot afford. So first of all, we should facilitate getting married, and this is something which is not very difficult. And interestingly, we have in the early Islam something which we don't have, unfortunately, in most of the cases today among Muslims. But in early Islam, we have some cases that some women who wanted to get married, they used to go to the Prophet and said, we are ready for getting married and we look for some good husband. Nowadays, it's only men who go and ask for, offer the proposal. But it was very simple issue that when people felt that they are in need of getting married and they are prepared for that, they could express their readiness, and then they were getting married very easily, without very difficulty. So we need to promote marriage, and we need to facilitate marriage. And also, we need to ensure that everyone understands the value of marriage. According to many hadiths, a person who is married, when he says 2 units of prayer, this is much better than a person who says tens of units of prayer when he is not getting married. Or according to some hadiths, a person who is married has been able to protect half of his faith, and he must be worried and look after the second half of the faith. So lots of emphasis has been put on marriage so that people know the value of marriage. And also, what is very important is that people should be told that you can no longer be free or individualistic as you used to be before marriage. Unfortunately, sometimes what happens especially in modern societies, is that because we have always been talking about individual rights, individual liberty and freedom, so people try to be in the same position that they used to be before marriage. And everyone, the wife or the husband, may try to do the same thing that they used to do, without consulting each other, without trying to come to some kind of agreement, and without being ready to sacrifice, giving up their own ways for the sake of family. And this is something very wrong. And this is where family is related to spirituality. Because a very important principle in spirituality is to get rid of your selfishness. And a very fertile place to exercise this is in family, because it's something that on a daily basis and in a very close way you are going to experience. Are you ready to give up your own ideas for the sake of family? Are you ready to give priority to your wife or to your husband or to your children or to your parents so that the family can become stronger, or you only want your own things to go away, to go away with your own things? So this is very important part of also spirituality. And one of Muslim scholars says beautifully in his book that when we look at some of the people who have not been married, even among great scholars who were very pious, he has this idea that you can find that there is some kind of maturity that exists in the people who are married and is not there in the people who are not married. And he says that even these people were very knowledgeable, very pious, very spiritual, because they didn't go through this experience of getting married and experiencing family life. You find some kind of naivete, some kind of immaturity in them. This is his idea. I don't want to say that there is no exception, but it seems that really it's the case, because marriage is really a big experience, a big challenge to open up ourselves and to create a bigger self. Before we are married, I have a very limited concept of self. Then my wife or my husband or my children, my parents, all become included in myself. And hopefully then you can learn how to include all humanity into yourself. And then you will no longer be a selfish person, because then you would think that the benefit for everyone is benefit to you. So this is something which we need to learn through family life. So just to sum up what we have said, I would like to say that in Islam, marriage as a gate to having family life is considered to be very important. Although it is not obligatory to have children, but the people who are married are very much recommended to have children when they are prepared, when they are ready to undertake great responsibility. They are very much encouraged to have children. Parents have certain responsibilities towards children, not only to look after their health, not only to look after their food and education, but also to look after their piety and spirituality and morality. And children have great responsibility to show always respect and kindness and benevolence to their parents. And then whatever makes family ties stronger is encouraged. Whatever causes division or discord in family is condemned. And divorce is something which is permitted, but it's very severely condemned. And it's only when really necessary people should resort to. Thank you very much.